I'd like to start at the beginning of the supply chain with Matt Carstens, who's the CEO of the Landis Co-op. He was recently over from Land of Lakes, where he was in charge of farmer-driven sustainability. So you can see we have a true ally in this work from the very top of Landis. So Matt, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks, Alicia, and thank you, all of you. I'm really excited to be able to be a part of this. As you can tell from my background, this is important to me, but it's not just about me. It's important to our farmers, who were the original conservationists, and I really believe today it is their future. And although at times it may not feel that way in the pure sense, it is our job at Landis and all of the ag retailers that are really the trusted advisor to those farmers to help guide them down that journey to make that successful. Because at Landis, the farmer really is the hero of the food and fuel supply chain. And we really believe that. It's an essential part of, as you said, Alicia, where the journey begins with the farmer. And that effect, because at Landis and our farmers both combined really do affect every step of the food and fuel supply chain. So we take that responsibility really serious in the way that we need to spend a large amount of our time advocating for the farmers and with the farmers. That's public and private, everything through those value chains or supply chains that we're here talking about today. And it's a complicated journey. You know, there's no part of that supply chain that you can just focus in on solely and have a positive outcome around it. We've got to make sure every part of that supply chain is in those discussions. So avocation is something we do take serious, and that's why we're so honored to be a part of Green America here today and talking about that and the avocation that must take shape there. But our avocation doesn't just stop with our farmers and the food and fuel supply chain. It also goes into our rural communities. And I want to highlight them because it's sometimes the forgotten part of this journey. Whether it's here in the United States or North America or anywhere in the globe, these rural communities are vital for our farmers, for these supply chains, in the way that they provide a workforce, they provide entertainment, education, they provide healthcare that has long been lost, I think, in at least the countries that I've visited. And we've got to elevate that back into the discussion that all of those things of education, healthcare, and the likes are so important to what we do from food, fuel, fiber, and on down the line. So we spend also a fair amount of time in those rural communities and helping bring companies like all of you and organizations like all of you to not just our farmers, but those rural communities that they operate in. So again, Landis is very honored to be a part of this and help share with you the uniqueness and excitement of our company and the ownership model of our 7,000 farmers that own us across the geography I mentioned, but also in the collaboration that we want to bring with all of you. I'm sure all of you in some way, shape, or form is using corn or soybeans or oats or wheat that we can be a part of and use the relationships and ownership model that we have with that very, very focused mindset of sustainability tied to the economics that we must find for those farmers to support this whole journey that we're here to talk about today. So Alicia, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you so much again for the opportunity, and all of us at Landis and our farmers appreciate this opportunity.
So Matt, I'd like to kind of bridge over from where Mariano is. 7,000 farmer members. That's extraordinary. How do you go about partnering with them for some of these changes around soil health and carbon?
Yeah, thanks. You know, the good news is it's not me, it's our great employees that try to wrestle that opportunity every day. But again, I'll go back to some of the opening comments for everyone that we can never forget that the farmer really wants everything that we're talking about, but it's how we guide them on that journey that resonates with them to make this come to life. Because again, I assure you, they want this as well. They are the original conservationists. So at Landis, we've really taken a couple different approaches, and I'll answer this in two ways. One is in the balance of economics and the environment, and then two is data. So let me start with the balance of economics and the environment. If you find, or all of us collectively find that right balance of the farmers' economics and how they and all of us together can help the environment, we win immediately. That's what the farmer wants. So many times I hear people talk about one particular practice or product or technology. That does not work. Of our 7,000 farmers, I assure you, all 7,000 are unique. On each of their fields, even segments of their fields, it's unique. Because of the technology we employ today in agriculture, we look at these fields acre by acre, even meter by meter, and we have to. So I ask us to really think about, we will win this, and no offense, Alicia, to your group, but in these conferences, or talk about something else and still pay you great opportunities to come a part of listening to these, but we won't have to have these discussions when we take the approach of finding that balance of the economics to the environment. Until then, we're forcing a square peg in a round hole. And that's what we continue to do. But that's the role that Landis wants to play, not just with our 7,000 farmers, but with all of you. How can we collectively collaborate in a way that finds that equilibrium, farm by farm, farming operation by farming operation? And to the last point of data, that's the power of this journey. When we show the data to the farmer, like Mario and even Xavier's talked about, when we can show them what that product, practice, or technology has done on that farm, and that they see the benefit, not just economic wise, but planet wise, journey over. We've won. Now the journey is how we continue to push them to the next level and the next stage. And that's the fun part of this. But data turns that on for us. And then we can bring in the whole supply chain, because it does start with the farmer. We can talk about anything we want on this group. Until a farmer takes an action, the journey doesn't start. And when we can do that with their data that supports them at the farmer, and then take that through both Mario's business and Xavier's business, all the way to a consumer, that is the exciting part. And now with the great advancements we've made in data, this is all possible. And Mario just gave some great examples of that. I know Xavier's got wonderful examples of that at Amy's. That's the journey that we're on. And although data is challenging at times, gets sensitive, because that's kind of a farmer's checking account, right? I don't want anybody messing with my checking account, and they aren't overly excited about that either. But we can show them that equilibrium and the value that data brings the whole food and fuel supply chain. It's a really exciting journey that I think we should all be open-armedly welcoming, but we have to be willing to tackle that equilibrium and the sensitivity to the data to move that through the supply chain.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Maybe on that theme, because I think we're right with you. Everyone in this network is right with you on that balance of economics and the environment. And we even wonder whether the economic story should be the first part of the story, because what we're finding from the farmers in our network, who are really the innovators in regenerative, is that that not only do they get all of those great environmental benefits, but they went on the journey because of economics, because what they were doing wasn't working for them. And within 3 years, they're finding that they're able to reduce their costs by about half and increase their profitability, of course, as would come along with that. And so, but it's what we find is that here's the hard part, so we'd love your insights on this. What we find is exactly what you're saying, is that it's not one thing or one practice or one technology. It's actually sort of it's the artful combination of them. It's the stacking of the practices. It's the whole system view. Do you have any thoughts? And it's different than how, it's like anybody else, there's that curve from the innovators to the early adopters to the folks in the majority. Any thoughts on how you guys think about that and the adoption of that mindset?
Yeah, you right there really asked the question, if I could phrase it that way. If you don't put the economics ahead of any other topic, you can save your time with most farmers, and you should. It would be like coming to all of us and going, hey, we want you to change your job responsibilities and we're going to pay you less. Well, let me think about that. I'm not sure I'm into that journey. So we have to think about it in the way the farmer, and when you show them the economics of the cake and put the icing on the cake of the environment, I can assure you all farmers will follow. And so the best path to do that, and I hope everyone really hears this loud and clear, you can't do it through one or two or three tools. It just will not work. You will get a few that may get excited about it, but every tool, product, practice has its own stigma with the farmer. And so let them decide where they want to start that journey and show the economic returns of that. And then continue to do continuous improvement with a new tool, a new product, a new practice. We're on a journey. We've caused this problem over 50, 60, 80, 100, thousands of years. We won't fix this in 5 to 10. So taking the first step and letting that toolbox of many tools be the guide to lead that journey is the best path. I really believe that. And as a farmer, I can assure you, in watching our own farming operation do this, you come out and tell us X is our salvation. We will show you where the lane you came in begins to leave. We'll decide what tool's best for us, because you are dealing with our livelihood, our mentality, our history. That is exactly right. So every farmer's got that element in it. And that would be my advice, is bring a toolbox, guide them through data on which tools work for them, field by field, operation by operation. I think you win.
So in a minute, I'm going to ask all of my fellow panelists here to see if they have any questions for each other. And again, I would welcome any folks. There's been some good exchanges in the chats. If anyone wants to has another additional question for us up here, please let me know. I just want to invite you. Do you have any questions or comments for each other, given that you are in different parts of the industry, different parts of the supply chain?
Well, maybe I'll start with just a comment that I really love the dialogue, and I want to be very clear. Landis wants to do what's right for our farmers and what's right for the consumers. And I thought both Mariano and Xavier spoke well about, we all need to follow the trail to the consumer. But I also don't want to lose sight, since we've got two pretty strong views here of the organic and non-GMO side, that I think there is another side, and let me remind you again, Landis supports the organic non-GMO side as well, that technology in the bag of seed is an important part of this journey as well. And we need all sides of this to really find the end game. No different than as technology continues to advance in healthcare, in our medicine, in our technology that we use, we also need it on farm. And I look at our farm. When I was growing up, I was really ill to the insecticides we would use on our farm. And today, we use almost no insecticides. We make much less passes over the field with herbicides or different kind of pesticides. And I'm really proud of what technology has done for agriculture and helping not only protect our planet, but also to feed the world more economically. And although my family and a lot of us here are probably blessed to be able to pay more for some of that food, we also have to recognize the challenges around the world and how we continue to do things in a way that's good for the planet, but also providing food that feeds the world. And by no means am I pointing the finger that nobody wants that, but I do think we can't turn our back to technology and find that balance between lower technology to the high technology that's available today. And again, I'll end as I began. Landis fully supports both sides of that coin, and I just want to make sure we represented both sides on this panel today as well.
Well, you'll be glad to know, Matt, in this network, we want to work with everyone who touches soil. So
there you go. There you go.
When you look at the when you look at the big goals of soil health and climate, it has to involve everyone.
You bet. Well said.
Definitely happy to continue conversation with you, Matt. So thank you for the invitation.
That'd be great. Thank you.
If I could put one comment before we open for further Q&A, I think I build on what Matt said. We are about choices as a company. We are choices for the consumer or choices also for our farmers. So we produce organic products, non-GMO, grass-fed, conventional, we have it all. And on the pragmatic side, as we are running out of time, all the different agriculture systems need to improve. I'm equally devoted to increase organic or develop further non-GMO or even plant-based diets, but at the same time to have less chemicals on the conventional fields, because it is not, we will not solve or heal our planet convincing 2% of vegans to have all the population vegans, or on the other spectrum to have, instead of 6% of organic, everybody organic. All the system needs to improve. That will be the only way that we can move the needle. So we treat farmers, as Matt said, we have all shapes and sizes. From the 770 that we engage with, we have from 20 cows, we have 220 farmers with 20 cows or less, and we have some of them with thousands. And we do not believe that they are big or small. They are good, not yet good.
Everyone can make a difference every day.
Really well said.
Good, yeah, well said. I have a question from Chris Steele, one of our data guys in the network. And Mariano, thanks for putting your thoughts in the chat. And he also wanted to hear more from Matt about how you mentioned the data as one of your twin pieces for the approach to the farmers. And he was wanting to hear just a little bit more about how you're leveraging data and the existing pain points that maybe introduce friction in the journey to where the farmers want to go.
Yeah, it's a really, really great question that Chris asked. So what we're doing is first showing the economics around data. So it's important to note that this topic of data is sensitive. Like I used the example in my opening comments or mid comments around a checking account. That's exactly what data means to a farmer. You know, you're asking them to open up their checking account and share it and all that great stuff. And there's a lot of resistance to that for obvious reasons. And then there's been some breach of confidentiality and things that happens in all of our lives when data starts to be shared. So what we're doing is with the help of Land O'Lakes Truterra, who's our regional cooperative, using their Truterra Insights engine to be able to show the value of the farmer's data just first on their farm. So we really keep it isolated to looking at all the tools in the toolbox and not overwhelming them, but letting them evaluate the toolbox to say, I'd be open to these 4 practice changes, or these 3 product changes, or these 3 technology changes. And then we run scenario modeling to say, on this field, this is the outcome you're going to see. On this field, these are the outcomes you're going to see. And then they can come back to their Landis location and say, here's what I want to do. Here's why I want to do it. And this is what it means to me. And then as that starts to be successful, we then share that data with the farmer's permission, because now we've got them on the treadmill, right? They're seeing the economic returns. They're believing and passionate about the environmental impacts they're making and what that means to their farm to be able to hand it down for generations to come. And they want to be a part of it. So it starts with showing them that economics of data, showing them how that works, and then being able to share it with Mariano and Xavier's company on, here's what you were looking for in the farmers, here's what that corn, soybean, wheat, oats meant, and take that all the way through the channel. But we first entice that farmer through the economics, which Alicia was your question in the beginning, how do we do it? And that's really the journey that we're on. So it's not one thing you turn on at one point. It's not an easy journey, but the key of that is economics and a full toolbox, not coming to the farmer saying it's X or bust. It's a toolbox, letting them choose, and then continuously improve and push them beyond year 1 and 2. And I think Mariano, you were talking about your 10-year journey with the farmers, and that's really well said. And I know Xavier at Amy's, you do something very similar, and that's the journey there. So hopefully that helps.
Great. Just maybe to put your biggest challenge to the group and any advice you have to the group, given that, you know, our big goals are around soil health and climate.
Yeah, I guess so. I will just close with, I kind of as I opened, I think the two key things as I look at this discussion is avocation, particularly of the trusted advisor, that farmer. Don't try to play a role that you're not. And that's not meant to anyone at all on this call, but we need to respect those that the farmer respects, because the journey starts with them. And collaborating, so avocation and collaboration is the journey for that. And us at Landis stand to tackle that challenge beside each and every one of you. Our farmers are excited to bring these opportunities, whether it's a few hundred acres or a few million acres. Our farmers are ready, and our infrastructure at Landis is ready for that. So I would extend that invitation. Xavier, I very much look forward to working together. I know, Mariana, we've done a lot of good stuff with Danone over the years, and look forward to continuing that, but that with everyone. I know there's a lot of comments coming in, so let me just give a couple bit of contacts for me. You can reach me at mattcars1 on Twitter, or you can reach me over email, which is matt.carstens@landiscooperative.com. And I give you my phone number, but it won't do you any good. It's best to reach out to me, one of those, and I will promise you I will follow up with each of you. Or you mentioned, Alicia, Jim Engler, who is our representative for Green America, who is an absolute wonderful person to reach out to as well, and really believes in this journey and has helped our company and our farmers reach new levels. So both Jim and I stand willing and ready, and just thank you so much to you, Alicia, and Xavier and Mariano. You guys are amazing, and this was a great journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariano, Xavier, and Matt. You've created a lively conversation in our chat, and I just want to read out, because Alan Lewis from Natural Grocers says, these kinds of respectful and open-minded conversations are the single best way to bridge our assumed political and philosophical divides. So not only are you shouldering all of the possible advances and accelerations in the agriculture and food space, but you're also healing divides. So thank you very much. Thanks for your time today. And
Thanks,
good speed to your